Hey, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. So recently I had the chance to do a kids event that was actually outdoors at a park. And of course it was outdoors because it seems like everyone wants to have their parties outside in the summer, which is fine. I figured it out. But anyways, I wanted to take you through it and just kind of show you the look and give you some inspiration in case you have a similar party coming up and maybe your client isn't sure what kind of theme they want to go with. This theme I think would be great for almost anybody. So I said a kids party, but I feel like it would work for teens, tweens, and maybe even young adults. I don't know, maybe even grown adults, I'm not sure. And this is why it works. I feel like at least 9 out of 10 kids play video games of some sorts. I know my kids do. Roblox, Minecraft, PlayStation, Fortnite, Xbox, all of that stuff. They have way more than what I used to have growing up. I just had Nintendo and Sega, but anyhow. And what comes with that is a perfect opportunity to create a gamer-inspired birthday party display. And that's exactly what my client wanted. She came to me and she wanted me to create an entire setup that was centered around her child's favorite video game, which is Fortnite. And this job was a little bit different because I did more than just balloons. I've recently been working on expanding my inventory offerings to include more than just balloons. Now, I definitely do not want to become an event planner. That's not something that I actually enjoy doing. However, I found it's helpful just to make things that I can offer in-house to have my clients avoid having to use a second vendor. And it allows me to kind of expand my offerings and grow my business. Some of these items I made are pretty simple. Some are a little bit more complex, but I think it's important to consider it if you feel as though you want to grow outside of just balloons. So if you're interested in seeing more, go ahead and hit that like button. In the meantime, let's get into it. So when doing a larger job, I find it's easier when I organize ahead of time. So I've just been kind of grouping my balloons into clusters before I inflate them and put a little sticky note to let me know which is what. I find that it saves time, but keeps me more organized because it can get hard, right? You might notice these gloves I have on. Let me just tell you, they've been a lifesaver when it comes to my hands, but that's something I'll get into in another video. After I put my clusters together, I inflated them all, of course, and started to build my base. Because it was outdoors, I wanted to use more larger balloons, so I did clusters of 8 with 4 18-inch and 4 11-inch. And of course, I tied them together by the neck. That's my preferred method whenever possible. And in building my base, I use a zigzag pattern. So basically putting a cluster to the left, a cluster to the right, left, right, and forming that zigzag pattern. Once I get that in place, I start to build out the bottom part of my base to make it larger by essentially shaping it into an upside down Y and then filling in the middle. Then from there, just tie the necks of the clusters at the bottom together so they're nice and tight. So I've been playing around with this new method to make my garlands more full. And the method consists of quads of 11-inch balloons sized down to a 7. So they're twisted into quads, and then the 2 quads are tied together by the necks. So you can kind of like pull them apart, and then using that to wrap them into the garland. I found, I'm not so sure how well this method works. It's still in beta stage, but after I do it a few more times, I'll let you know if it's recommended. Okay, setup day was crazy. So essentially, I asked my son to be my videographer to film everything because it was just 2 of us setting up. So I was like, hey son, can you film everything for me? But if you see the camera a little bit shaky and the angle's a little bit off, you know why. It's because my beautiful son was helping me out. I did have to get a U-Haul to fit everything in. And it's funny because the garlands that I took all that time making at home, I ended up just stuffing it into my car, like literally just stuffing it into the back of my car because I am super impatient. So by the time I took it out, the garlands were all like jumbled together. It looked nothing like how it looked when I set it up at home. I had to spend like 20 minutes just trying to like detangle it and figure out what the shape should be. Matter of fact, if you look really closely at my face, you can literally see the frustration in my eyes of trying to figure out how to rearrange this garland. Not to mention the wind. Of course, they had things blowing everywhere. Just a quick tip. If your balloons are in bags and you're not using them yet, clip your bag to the nearest anchor point to keep it from blowing away in the wind. You might have already known that, but it helped me. And because it was so windy, I tried a new method in weighing my balloons down, which was using water weights, the kind that come with the poles, to see how that worked. And I think it was okay. It wasn't as heavy as I wanted it to be, but it was really easy to transport and quick. So that's something you might want to try. I know one thing that was getting on my nerves, my balloons were oxidizing. I know they're always going to oxidize outside. I know that's normal, but I feel like when I'm setting them up and I see them looking all dusty and like faded and matte, it kind of takes away from the look in my eyes and it's hard for me to see the final vision. Some colors matte works with really well, but these colors, because they were supposed to be bright and bold, the matte oxidation look just wasn't it for me. I took all my single clusters and tied them into the garland as much as I could, just by the necks. And check out these really cool drop boxes. When your kid plays Fortnite, you know these drop boxes are like a part of the game. So we were able to suspend them from the ceiling using fishing line, and it gave that look like they were falling out of the helicopter like the game. So around this time, the setup was really getting a little long in the tooth, as they say. I was ready to get my fillers in and get my shine spray on. I did use the chain clusters for my fillers along with some 5-inch quads. The idea is to put the cluster chains in kind of a zigzag pattern as well. And even though I thought I was doing it, I noticed it wasn't quite exactly how I envisioned. I wanted to experiment a little bit with this neon light. I wasn't sure how bright it would be outdoors, but I think it was okay. And finally, the moment I've been waiting for is adding the shine to bring these balloons back to life. Now, I use an entire can of Mega Shine, and if you don't know, Mega Shine is like $24 a can, and I ran out of it. Like, used the entire can, ran out. Luckily, I had some backup High Shine, and I sprayed that on as well too. So if you're doing a bigger setup outdoors, I would say get at least 2 cans or have some type of backup. After we did the balloons, got all of our props, our foil balloons, things like that, this is how the final look came together. And I'm gonna show you some of the extra items we made that we were able to incorporate into this design. First is the marquee number. This is not really beginner friendly, but if you're able to buy one from a vendor, I would highly recommend it because they'll pay for themselves over time. To kind of fit the post-apocalyptic theme, we made this dessert table with this wood top created from wood panel strips and 2 oil drums at the bottom painted black. Good old reliable LED sign, everyone loves those. And my trusty black grid wall. We were able to build this ladder display thing, which the client can use to put party favors on, desserts, anything like that. That was also an easy build. You could look up plans on Etsy or online for free. I already talked about the Fortnite drop boxes, which were incorporated with a little bit of fishing line. Threw in a couple of faux plants as well, and a custom backdrop. I ordered this as a digital file first from a vendor online, and then I took that file to a local printer and was able to get the actual backdrop printed out. So if you want to offer a custom backdrop, just get the digital file from Etsy or from any other vendor and go to either your local print shop or you can use an online printer as well. So that's it. That's the final look, and I hope it gives you some inspiration for your next kids party, but if it doesn't, that is okay because I have a couple of other videos specific to kids parties that I think you might like, and you can find them right here. In the meantime, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and share. Also consider subscribing because I have a lot more to come.